Any final words for the baby?
Any first words you mean? I think my final words to the baby are gonna be, you've got a good life. All right, I'm rolling.
You're done.
And you are too. Yeah. 300,000 subscribers. Just kidding. What time is it? It's almost 12:30. They just broke her water. So my estimate is that the baby will be here within the next 30 minutes. The harder, the better, right? That's what I always say. Ladies and gentlemen, now presenting the long-awaited, cutest new addition to the Cox family, Adalia Wren. Say hi, Adalia.
Yes, Adalia. Yeah.
We're back with another video.
In this video, we're going to be telling the story of Adalia's birth and my labor after almost 10 months in the womb.
We've been trying to shoot this video for like an hour, trying to get Adalia to like be peaceful enough and sleep or not hiccup or whatever. So yeah, we had the false alarm. So we drove an hour.
An hour to Longview, and
yeah.
we went to the emergency, check-up room, and they were like, no, your water didn't break. And so we just had to drive back home. We were all prepared right then and there. And on the way home, one of our tires blew, and it was like 11 p.m.
I was going to get the tires changed that morning, but I just didn't get around to it.
Yeah, because of the eventfulness of thinking we might have the baby. So we ended up on the side of the highway.
We ended up not getting home till like 1 a.m. And then
yeah, that was crazy.
That was like a Wednesday or something? Yeah.
And then the next day, everything was just super normal. I was like back to being like, okay, I guess this baby's never gonna come. She was 10 days over.
41 weeks and
3 days.
3 days.
The next day we went in for our regular midwife appointment to check up, and we were advised that we should
get induced, basically.
Basically, yeah. She was like, it's could be dangerous to wait any longer because the baby could poop in the fluids and yada yada, whatever other reasons.
Our midwife is amazing. She's been doing this for like 40 years and we couldn't have done it without her. And we wanted to do a completely natural birth. I just wanted to let everything happen in its own time. Yeah. But I trust her judgment, and so we decided that day, after praying about it, that we were gonna come in to get my water broken. Our time to come in for that was 9 p.m. So we spent the day in Longview talking, preparing, because we knew for a fact that she was going to be here. I didn't feel actually nervous, and when we went to the hospital, I was so confident in like Katya. Her pregnancy was perfect. She had no pregnancy pain, didn't have all the like pregnancy cravings. It was like she was normal, other than obviously just carrying all that weight around. Yeah, I was confident too. I wasn't feeling nervous at all. We were ready to have the baby, and it was really exciting. We were excited. Little did we know the unthinkable would happen. The unthinkable? I thought that it was gonna take 30 minutes. I was like, they're gonna break her water. And the baby's gonna come flying out, because we've heard so many stories of that exact thing happening. Because I had also been 6 centimeters dilated forever. And for those of you who don't know, 10 centimeters is like, it's like, oh, the baby's head can come out now. Yeah, it's like you can start pushing the baby out at 10. I was just walking around with 6 centimeters dilated, which is over halfway there. They broke her water at like midnight. She started feeling contractions for the first time. Finally, I had no Braxton Hicks or any practice contractions or anything. Yeah. They weren't that bad. They steadily got worse. Yeah. They started to become very unbearable. And I honestly hadn't prepared any pain coping mechanism for myself. Like a fidget spinner or anything. Yeah. We didn't have anything. We didn't have anything. So I was just trying to bear through it. And I kept trying to do like like the raindrop sounds in her ear, but she just wouldn't let me. So they were unbearable at like 2 a.m.
That went on and on and on.
That lasted until like 7:30 in the morning. When we say unbearable for 7 hours, like the whole time it was happening, I was thinking to myself, like, how can we even like get through this and do this? And I know that like I wasn't the one feeling the pain, but I was like right there with her the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell how painful it was for her, because Katya doesn't like cry, scream, like about anything really. And so like I was expecting it to, we were both kind of thinking it would be a fairly painless birth, because we know that people have natural births, have, you know, but
all the signs pointed it, well in my first time ever giving birth,
and our expectations,
pointed to, oh, this won't be that bad, really.
And so like screaming, like just crying so hard, she was, and the whole time, not, well, yeah, for almost those whole 7 hours, you were like, you couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the pain was intense, and it was the only thing that I was able to think of during that time. Like, I wasn't able to, I don't know, I wasn't myself.
She didn't open her eyes at all, really. She was just like,
I was just like in pain, and they were coming really close together. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's labor. It was labor.
So like,
it was hard work.
At probably around 7 a.m. she was fighting the contractions kind of because of how painful it was, and like trying not to push and stuff, because they wanted us to be, her body to be fully ready to push the baby out so she didn't tear. And so her contractions started slowing down around 7 a.m.
Which is such a relief for me.
She was like passed out.
Oh my gosh, thank goodness they're slowing down and this is getting a little bit less intense, because I would have longer in between, and I was able to close my eyes. Well, my eyes were closed, but I was able to drift off to sleep in between a little bit. And so I was just exhausted mentally and emotionally and physically.
So instead of the contractions being like 1 minute apart and lasting for like 3 minutes, they were now like 5-6 minutes apart, and they would last for like a minute, is what started happening around 7 a.m. And she was like drifting off to sleep in between, and just like,
my body needed a break.
Yeah.
Essentially, my mind needed a break.
Yeah.
Our midwife basically let us know that I wasn't progressing at all, and that, basically that I wasn't progressing at all. And that's not something that I wanted to hear at all. That's like super disappointing after 7 hours of like the most unbearable pain that I've ever experienced. The shift had just changed, a new nurse came in, and she just was like, suggested getting an epidural, and I think it was already on both Caleb and I's mind. It
was for so many hours, like it was on and on and on. Her just like crying and being in so much pain that I was like something to relieve, but I didn't really know that much about epidurals or anything, and I was just like making eye contact with the nurse, like waiting for her to like mention it. And like suggest it.
And that wasn't an option in my mind. Getting an epidural, getting any sort of medication or anything was never part of the plan, obviously. But we ended up doing that because I wasn't progressing anymore, and I was done. I was so done.
The nurses were like, we need to give you Pitocin because your body's like calming down and giving you a rest, but we need to just get this over with, so we're not like prolonging this whole thing. And Katya was like basically begging, like, I can't do that again. Like, I can't have them get intense like that again. I just can't do it again, was what she was saying. So it was kind of like obvious that the only option in that scenario was like
pain relief.
Yeah, like we need to like relieve the pain a little bit, because she's basically like mentally like checked out. Like you can't do that again in your own mind, at least. I was like, Katya, let's do an epidural. The pain will go away. They'll give you Pitocin, and like your body will do the work.
Be able to do what it needs.
Yeah, and then you can like focus on actually just like having the baby and not just thinking about pain.
Yeah.
Which might be controversial to some of you who are like uber natural. That was our intention, but obviously in the moment, like, you know, when we walked in there, we expected to have a 30-minute birth. Or something 30 minutes, 2 hours, like 4 hours at the most. I was really nervous about the epidural because it just sounds painful, doing all that stuff, multiple needles, like putting that thing in your spine.
And you always hear the horror stories. Your mom.
Oh yeah, that's true. My mom had a terrible epidural. They tried 3 times and couldn't do it right, and then it was so painful for her. But we did it, and it was amazing. Like, the guy was so good at what he does. You didn't feel anything when they did the epidural.
It felt like an earring, like, pricked me or something, like, So it wasn't anything at all.
She felt pain relief, like, in 5 minutes, probably.
Oh, yeah. They were like, it'll take about 15 minutes to kick in, but it seemed, in my mind at least, pretty instant, honestly.
Yeah.
And I was able to like sit up and like open my eyes and like look around at the people in the room, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I was able to go to the bathroom.
I hold Caleb hostage the entire time.
Yeah. So we took a nap from like 9:30 to 10. Mm-hmm. And then we started pushing, and Katya was like so relieved. Everyone was just so relieved for Katya to like be present.
Be present, have conversation, feel like myself, able to think about, oh, my baby's coming. Like, I'm really excited about this, and it's going to be so amazing, which is really good that I was able to get to that place because we pushed for 3 hours, and her head is in the 93rd percentile.
Adalia, you son of a gun.
I don't want your hair brushed. Came out at 8 pounds 9 ounces, and when she came out, everyone in the room, all the nurses and everybody was like, oh my goodness, she's huge.
Not to be graphic, but like we're seeing her like a little portion of her head for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours,
waiting to come out.
Yeah. And so I'm picturing such a small head because the portion that we see, it's like, oh, maybe that's like half of the baby's head. And then when she actually came out, like her head was massive. It was like mind-blowing. I was like, I remember her ears like popping out and like, oh, you know, not being like this and just like, and I was like, her ears are like, her head is ginormous. She doesn't look that big now.
No, she's not very big. I mean, she's 8 pounds 9 ounces is like a good sized baby, but it's normal.
Mm-hmm. I was having sympathy contractions, I think, like 1 or 2.
Really?
No. The whole time during the birth, I was like, how do people do this more than once? Like, how could we ever just like sign up to do this again? How can we get through this?
It was a great relationship building exercise.
Yeah, when the baby was born, I was like, that was way crazier than getting married. That was way crazier than like dating, way crazier than asking her to marry me. It was the craziest thing compared to any other thing that we felt like was adulting or like evolution of our relationship. It went immediately from like, how are we doing this and how could we ever choose to do it again? Hard, to that was the best experience of my life.
And as stubborn as I am about all the natural things, getting an epidural was a relief. It's a part of the story now, and I would consider our story a big success.
This video is sponsored by Epidural.com. You can get an epidural anytime you want if you are in a lot of pain.
That's not true. Caleb, cut the cord.
We didn't take any of the stuff that they prescribed, like any of the shots, anything like that. Everything natural, because our baby was created by God, and she's good, and we'll take care of her, feed her well, all that. Yeah, I got to cut the cord. I was just bawling when she came out, and she's perfect.
She is perfect.
She's about ready to
born
eat.
At 1:22 p.m. on October 8th.
Yes.
And
on a Saturday,
on
right?
On a Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so we thought it was going to be 30 minutes. It was 13 hours and 20-something minutes.
And 3 hours of actively pushing.
But yeah, that...
all in all.
It was good.
It was great. And we have our little baby girl, and life's been good. She's 12 days old. Kayla's been trying to get her to say dada since she was like 1 week old. Follow our adventures with our new baby girl, Adalia Wren, which means behold the sun.
Like and subscribe. Oh.